Earlier, you mentioned replatforming. That was a big part of your role. I want to hear what you did at Deseret Books and what that looked like.
In the beginning, there was a legacy platform that was made, homegrown legacy platform. And when I first got there, I was kind of doing my product management type of thing, and found that about 38% of the work that we were doing with our development team was for bugs that kept coming up. And that was back in 2011, 2012. The big thing that we were saying is, why are we trying to solve a solved problem? That was the mantra that we had. We're trying to reinvent something that has already been invented, if you will. Are there any solutions out there that have already solved these problems for us? Because how many people are creating their own carts and creating their own, fulfillment logic and things like that? Back in 2000, I think it was 12, went to New York. We were a Ruby on Rails shop. So lots of Ruby on Rails, everything was written in Ruby on Rails. And so we thought, hey, let's see what exists out there that's on Ruby on Rails, and let's leverage an open source community so we can have the benefit of owning our software, developing whatever we want on that software, but inheriting all the good stuff that's already been solved, and then also inherit and have the benefit of all the security improvements that are made on that platform. So we went to New York, went to a Spree conference there. Lots of really interesting things were being said and happening that continue to be done today, honestly. Like having, even back then, it was talking about splitting the e-commerce engine from the front end and having APIs basically run all of your front end and just have your back end be just this engine that sits behind the scenes. Then you can serve both your front end for your commerce. You can also serve a front end for your app as well. And then anything else that you want to do, including a point of sale. And so we actually did all of those things. We actually started building our own point of sale with
Wow.
this as a back-end commerce.
Ambitious.
Yeah. Very ambitious. And we got pretty far with it. But then the pandemic happened. The value of e-commerce just doubled. So did all of the people who knew how to do commerce really well. It just kind of exploded. And so, our team over time kind of just went off in different directions just because the market was just absolutely red hot. And then we were kind of left with this, okay, we've done a ton of stuff. We had 60 stores. We did in-store fulfillment, buy online, pick up in store. All of that was homegrown that we'd made.
You have like a little Frankenstein commerce product that you built yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so many of those exist out in the wild. There's so much nuance to the way that businesses have done things for so many years, because there's not been any really core solution that's been flexible enough or has guided kind of the standards, if you will, of retail. So for example, your loyalty programs might be very different from store to store, that have really nuanced things that don't exist just out the box today. So as that change happened with the cost of resources and the cost of full-time employees, you've got to think now with that, with hosting and security and GDPR and CCPA and all of these things are just continuing to build up. All of these things are very costly. I did an analysis and said, okay, well, now we've done really well with this open source platform, and it's been fantastic. Do we continue with that and just kind of continue to look for talent that can help us with that as those costs increase? Or do we look for a solution that has been solved, and maybe a lot of the problems that we don't want to have to deal with, like security and uptime and response times and all the optimizations of the back end, can we just focus on what we do best, which is just commerce, and let someone else take care of all of that? And what does that look like? How many FTEs is that equivalent to? And that was the exercise that we went through and found that, now more than ever, it makes more sense to switch to something that can take care of the boring things, if you will, so you can focus on the customer facing things. And so we made the decision to migrate to a solution. When you look at solutions, the key is that you want to look for something that gives you that flexibility. Ideally, something that's really well documented from an API perspective, and something where you can really self-serve, I believe. You want to have something that tells you, hey, here's how this works and that works, without having to talk to people. Because people are super expensive. And, I think it speaks volumes when a product just does what it says it does, and you can just read how it works and you start playing with it and you're off to the races. I think that's the real key of growth for these SaaS platforms that are moving forward.
While you were doing that at Deseret Book, what was the solution you ended up going with, going from your homegrown and then figuring it out, and you picked something that was already working? What did you end up using?
A homegrown Ruby solution to Spree Commerce, which is a Ruby on Rails open source platform that then we changed over to Solidus.io, which is the same platform but has opinions that are a little bit different. And then we switched over to Salesforce Commerce and we added CRM. Actually, it's a very interesting story because it's all nerdy, but I think this is what the show's all about,
I like
right?
nerdy. We're going to go there.
Cool. Yeah. So one of the things we have, because we had 60 stores, so you have a point of sale, you have a loyalty system, and you want to connect that loyalty system and have one experience for the customer, whether they're in the store or online, right? And the problem is you have disparate systems. So the customer relationship management tool that you're using needs to also talk to your e-commerce and also to your point of sale. Marrying all of those things together is pretty challenging. And so a lot of retailers and other folks decided, hey, let's do a customer data platform that takes all this customer data from all these different systems and makes sense of it, merges it into one golden record, if you will, and then allows you to basically have and create the same experience across all these platforms. And then it would update your e-commerce, it would update your point of sale, it would update your applications that you have, it would update other marketing channels like Facebook and Google and all the hundreds of places you can go with that. What we decided to do was, instead of trying to have all these disparate systems talk together, why don't we just simplify the stack and have basically one core CRM that would serve both point of sale and also your e-commerce. And so we decided to go with Commerce Cloud. For commerce, also use a partner that works with Salesforce CRM for the point of sale, and have everything kind of just simplify it and have everything talk to this core CRM, which removes the need for a customer data platform because you're simplifying that stack. And so that simplification was something we talked to at length with various implementers and various clients and things like that. It cleans things up. We also use their order management solution, which would improve. And one of the big things is the importance of customers knowing when and where product is, when they're going to receive it, where it's located. And the order management solution with their stock level layer that's built into that is a real big checkbox for us in terms of knowing where all that product is. Deseret Book has 60,000 saleable SKUs at any given point, and you have 60 stores, and so you're like, where is everything? It's a big, fairly large technical problem to solve, and so you're looking for a partner who understands that, who's worked with big clients before. For some of the open source things, you've got to make sure you right size the solution for your business.
Hey, thanks for watching. This segment was made possible by our friends at Salesforce Commerce Cloud. If you're looking for the #1 platform for all your commerce needs, go check out salesforce.com/commerce. And don't forget to subscribe below and tap that little bell icon so you can stay on top of all the amazing new segments and full episodes that we'll be putting out over the coming year with some of the best and most influential commerce leaders out there.